As you know, we have chatted over the last couple of weeks about the challenges associated with COVID-19. And I think, as most of us know, the challenges are likely going to increase over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Can you believe it? It was on January 19th that the first known case of COVID-19 occurred in the United States. It's also hard to believe just how much has changed over the last 7 days. Unquestionably, each and every one of us has been impacted by this virus, but some of us, some of you, have been impacted more than others. This is really starting to hit close to home, especially for some of your extended family members. And we want you to know that we're praying for your health, your comfort, strength, and peace during this very, very difficult time. So, many of you are asking the question, I've been asking the question, when are we going to get by this great challenge? I don't think any of us knows the answer to that question. To me, we're in a marathon. I don't know if we're in the 2nd mile, the 8th mile. I don't know if we're in the 15th mile. I don't even know if we're going to have another marathon in the fall of this year. But what I do know is that CU SoCal's not going to change its values. I know that we're going to get through this. I know that we have a lot of reasons to be optimistic, especially if we feed our faith. And I'm excited about our future at CU SoCal. My main message today is about crisis. Since the beginning of time, when there's been a crisis, one thing almost always happens. Do you know what that thing is? It's happening in this world, it's happening in this country, it's happening at CU SoCal. When there's a crisis, trends almost always escalate. Think about it. With the digital shift has escalated. Think about your relationships. If you had a healthy relationship, it's probably escalated. If you were struggling financially, well, it's probably escalated. With your health, if you were unhealthy, it's unfortunately probably escalated. To no surprise, the trends at CU SoCal have escalated. And when I talk about the trends at CU SoCal, I'm talking about the many, many positive things that were happening before coronavirus. We were very focused on building better lives. We become even more radical today. There's just story after story. And I expect as this challenge becomes greater that what we do at CU SoCal will escalate to even higher levels. Now, for many of you, with the trends that were negative before the virus, that have continued to escalate in a negative direction, you can do something about that. I can do something about that. We all have our struggles. We have decisions to make about what we want to change. Just today, my wife had to go shopping for her parents. She's taking care of them. And when she went into pavilions, she went down the aisle that would normally have a wide variety of ice cream. Well, it was virtually empty. Well, we know what everyone's doing. Most of us have had challenges with our diet. Well, during these challenging times, that's been escalated. I've actually struggled with that myself. What I've really struggled with is chocolate. Just before COVID-19, in Anaheim Hills, I was visiting on a regular basis my chocolate dealers. There's 3 of them in Anaheim Hills. I've had to make some changes there. So what are you going to change? What am I going to change during this crisis? Well, I guess the bigger question becomes, how do we make a shift? How do we change? I'm convinced that to make a significant change when we have a negative trend, that we have to find our why. What's our why? Why would we want to start eating better, for example? Why would we want to improve on the relationships we have? Why would we want to improve our financial condition? Why? Well, when it comes to my diet, my why is this. I want to be the best husband I can be. I want to be the best father I can be. I want to be the best grandfather I can be. And I want to be the best leader at CU SoCal I can be. And by being the best I can be, I'm going to find more joy in life. Now, when I think about the specifics of the why, and I think some of us don't think to the depth of the why, and I think that's sometimes why we have a difficult time making a shift. For example, what I'm thinking about specifically, I I want to be able to play with my grandkids 15 years from now. That why is going to drive me from not having any chocolate today, not going to have any ice cream today. That's going to shift my why. And this may seem silly, but during this crisis, trends will escalate, and one of the most significant challenges is the way we eat. We need to think about our why as we try to make a shift. Now, looking forward, what are we going to be doing differently at CU SoCal? The world's changed, and I think it's going to be forever changed. CU SoCal is operating differently than it operated just 5 to 6 weeks ago. And once we get by this coronavirus, many things that we changed are going to be in place permanently. So I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do through these changes that have already occurred and the changes that are going to occur? And I'm going to say that the team members that find the greatest amount of joy are going to understand the differences between a career and a just calling. A career, or you could say a higher calling. John Maxwell talks about this. He talks about finding joy by understanding the differences between, again, a career and a higher calling. A career is mainly about you. A just calling is mainly about others. A career, you can take it or leave it. A just calling, you can't live without it. A career is about success. A just calling is about doing something that's significant. If you want to find joy and happiness through this crisis, if you want to continue with the positive trends and reverse the negative trends, you're going to need to think about and tap into your purpose and your just calling. And I think so many of you are doing just that. Over the next several weeks and long term, we're going to have many decisions to make. I'm going to have many decisions to make. And I'm not talking about the types of decisions that are very, very basic. For example, for Easter, my wife and I are going to have to decide if we want to celebrate in the living room or the dining room. That's not the kind of decision I'm talking about that we're going to have to make. We're going to have to make decisions in the middle of this crisis as to whether we're going to feed our fears or feed our faith. We're going to have to make decisions about our just calling, our higher calling, and we're going to have to think about our why when we make these decisions during a crisis. I'm convinced at CU SoCal, we're going to do very, very well because we're going to focus on our just cause and think about our why along this journey. As most of you know, each and every quarter on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday, we have chats. I get the opportunity and the privilege to go out to various branches and meet with our team members. I also get the opportunity to meet with our team members in Anaheim Hills. At these quarterly chats, we ask you how we can better serve you, how we can better serve members, and how we can better serve organizations in the communities we serve. It's also an opportunity for you to ask any questions to me that are on your mind. This coming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we are going to do something for the first time. We are going to have chats via teleconference. And we're asking you once again to share with us how we can make a difference in your lives and how we can better serve our members and the organizations in the communities we serve. At these chats, we're going to make an announcement about another benefit that we're going to offer our team members. I'm not going to give you the details now. I'll give you the details during the chats. Maybe I'm just teasing you a little bit here, but we're really serious about this benefit, and we think it's going to make a significant difference for many of you. I also have to give a shout out right here, right now, to our board of directors. When we proposed this benefit last week, they immediately approved it. There wasn't one board member that hesitated. It was unanimous. Your board of directors is behind you all the way. They want to build better lives for not just members, but for you as well. Now I want to shift now and talk about one of my favorite movies. I believe most of you have seen it. It's Top Gun. And we have several key characters in there: Iceman, Maverick, Goose. And if you think about that movie, you'll remember the scene where Maverick and Goose crashed their jet, and unfortunately, Goose did not survive that crash. Well, as you may recall, Maverick, his life was forever changed, and Maverick had a difficult time engaging. When he got back up in the air, he just couldn't engage until he thought about his why.
Maverick's re-engaging, sir.
Have you thought deeply about your why? Have you? Because if you want to make some changes with your diet, with your relationships, with your finances, with whatever it is, you're going to have to think about engaging, and to do that, you're going to have to think about your why. I'm optimistic. I've said that a few times. I believe in you. I believe in CU SoCal. We have the financial strength and the team to continue to make a difference. America's going to go back to work. It's going to be on a transitional basis. It's going to include stipulations, but it's going to cause what we do at CU SoCal to be altered forevermore. Are you ready for the challenge? Let's deal with this crisis in a positive way. As we're being refined, which I talked about last week, let's feed our faith and let's go out and radically change lives. Thank you for all you do for CU SoCal, and I'll chat with you again next Sunday.